Some parents have expectations of the way or the kind of kids we want to bring up or have. Yes, actually, I had such expectations of the kind of kids I want to have and I want to bring up. But what we fail to understand when we have those unspoken expectation, yes, unspoken expectations before we got married or when we are married. But what we fail to understand is those unspoken expectations has to be planned with your spouse, have to be spoken out, have to be looked into. So now what I'm trying to say is, so what we fail to understand is if those expectations of ours for our kids, we make them responsible. Did you hear that? Responsible, sane, awesome. With those expectations, make them stand out in the society among their friends. With those expectations, make them happy. Make them fulfilled as an individual, not just you. Because some of our expectations are the kind of expectations that will want to make us happy without thinking about the kids themselves, about their own expectation, what will make them happy. So I want you to understand, in as much as you have those expectations, have you ever thought about how those expectations will benefit your child or your kids for life? How will those expectations make them exceptional? Some of us, because we couldn't read a particular course, or because we were not trained and we didn't have people to sponsor us, maybe because you didn't be an accountant, so you feel you have the money, now that you have kids and you have the money, and now it is your child must be an accountant. Because what you couldn't achieve, you feel your child must achieve those things or be in that profession that you couldn't get into. You don't have to force your child to be that. So I know, I agree with us that we should have expectations. But in as much as we have those expectations, let's also look inward. Could those expectations be a selfish one? Could it be for our self-aggrandizement? Could it be that those expectations could be what you want to boast about your kids about? Could this expectation be because your friend, your neighbor, kids wear this or wear that, and you must have to force your kids to be what they do not want to do or what they want to go to? I want us to check inward. At times, they might be lying dormant. At times, they are unspoken. Just as we have those expectations, unspoken expectations before we got married, which we didn't discuss. with our spouses before we got married, and coming into the marriage, we are thinking, have this perception, expecting them to know. So I want you to understand this. Now I want you to do this. Is it possible for you to discuss those expectations, those desires in your heart about your child? Is it possible to discuss with your kids while they are growing up, to know if that is what they really want? You don't have to force them to do what you want to do or what you want them to be. But it is advisable to have a discussion towards it with them. There's this trend I see in schools and with teachers. Because there's a particular standard this school is keeping, which is fine, which is beautiful by me, because I feel institutes should be structured, well structured, have their values, their mission, and their vision, and what they want to bring out of the kids they are grooming. The kids are being brought to your school, what you expect them to be, how you want them to come out in the society. Now, but schools and teachers, can you please also think about this? Could those expectations of yours, or those standards you are trying to keep for the school, could it be at the detriment of our children whom we are bringing into your school? Because I see some schools, some schools, they put so much pressure on children, just as parents also put so much pressure on their children, because they want their children to be like Mr. or Mrs. Lagbaja's daughter or son. So are the schools are also doing. They put so much pressure on them. And at the end of the day, these children begin to exhibit pseudo-personality in the society, even in their parents' home. Yeah. That's why you find out that their parents do not know. We no longer know whom their real child or children are. Why? Because there's this pressure on the child. There's this pressure on the children. This is what you must do because you have a standard, which is not bad. But you have to put so much pressure that inconveniences the child, that puts them, that make them to develop a personality, a pseudo personality. I tell you, a child almost gave up, was filled with fear because of the pressure from the school. They were threatening them, not just pressure. They were threatening them. And this child had so much fear. And this child was a brilliant child. At the end of the day, this child gave up going to that school and going to school. So please, I want to beg us parents, I want to beg us schools, in as much as possible you want to keep a standard, you don't have to bring up a pseudo or a fake child who can stand in the society, who can be exceptional, who can stand with their mates, and they begin to live a fake life. Please, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, I beg you, be yourself. Thank you.